A new year means new laws. More than 250 new laws will go into effect on January 1st, and if you drive, several of them are going to directly impact you. Joining us this morning to break down these new laws is Chicago attorney Patrick Salvi. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, so tell us, new laws coming January 1st. What do people have to keep in mind when they're hitting the roads? We're talking about video devices and also moving over.
Yes. Well, I think one thing that's very important is that the legislature is caught up with technology. People are streaming videos now while they drive. That's obviously very unsafe. So that actually wasn't a law. Now it is. You can't do that. The other thing is distracted driving of any kind, whether it's video or texting or whatever the case may be. The penalties for if you are distracted when you cause an injury, if you're driving, it's your fault. The penalties have increased. You're now going to have your license suspended for a year if that's the conviction.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think that's a very good thing. I represent people that are injured. It happens in these ways. And so to have these laws to disincentivize distracted driving, I think is a very good thing.
Exactly. Raising the level of consequence to make sure that it's a real priority for people. Something else that we've heard about, unfortunately, over the past year, we've heard about this several times, troopers being killed because people aren't moving over when they're investigating an accident or they're pulling someone over. People aren't moving over to give them room on the side. And it's the law, it is the law already to move over, Scott's law. Right. So tell us more about what people need to keep in mind. Anything new with that?
Yeah. So Scott's law, it's dedicated to 3 troopers who were killed because people did not appropriately move over and take caution when passing emergency vehicles on the side of the road. So when you think about driving down the road, what is one of the hazards? An emergency vehicle or a disabled vehicle on the side of the road, your mere feet, if you drift, from causing an injury. And so people need to look ahead, make sure that you get over. So if you're in the right lane and there's a disabled vehicle on the right, get over to the left, slow down in order to avoid causing something catastrophic. If you don't do it and you're caught not doing that, the fines have substantially increased. These are big 4- and even sometimes 5-figure fines. So do that, because not only is it the safe thing to do, if you don't, they're going to hit you in your pocketbook.
Again, the legislature really getting those priorities out there and making sure that the consequences make it a priority for a driver as well.
Exactly, and really it should be a priority for all of us because it's the safe thing to do, but at least this new law allows me to come on television and explain to people the hazards that are involved with not paying attention to disabled or emergency vehicles on the side of the road.
Absolutely. Okay, and also crosswalks, any changes to laws around them?
Sure, so crosswalks or really any right-of-way, stop signs, traffic lights, if a driver violates a right-of-way rule and is convicted of doing so in a situation where there's a serious injury or death, again, this is an automatic 1-year license suspension, and fines have been increased. So again, disincentivizing failures to yield the right-of-way. And so this was in response to the tragic death of a young man who was killed because a truck driver had failed to stop at a stop sign. And residents in that small community were rightfully upset that it was just a small traffic fine for the violation. And so now it's a 1-year suspension with enhanced fines.
And we just heard of a very similar case that happened just this week in Oak Park, where a woman was killed crossing the street as well. So, okay, just finally to wrap it up, we've got new laws coming with marijuana legalization. Just kind of the big priority for people to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think people are concerned that there are no tests for THC, roadside tests. You can't breathalyze it as you can alcohol. You can't do a blood test right on the side of the road, which is the most accurate way to do it. But I've heard from police officers and folks that have talked about how this is going to be enforced, and it's really no different. I mean, you know that police, they have body cams, they have cameras from their vehicles, and so they're going to administer the same roadside sobriety tests to ensure that when someone is suspected of driving under the influence, that they can still convict folks when it's as a result of cannabis. So just like you shouldn't drink and drive, don't smoke cannabis and drive too. I think it's common sense, but it's worth reiterating.
Okay, Patrick Salvi, thank you so much.
Thanks,
we appreciate
Mike.
it. Thank you for being here.
Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe to our ABC7 Chicago YouTube channel.